Hey there guys, welcome back, it's Maverick here today with another episode of Code Geass R2. So, it's been a while, my apologies, but hey, this season has finally just about wrapped up, so I will be utilizing the upcoming days or upcoming week to push out these episodes of Code Geass, which I've been kind of slacking on, I fully admit. But, yeah, in any case, last time where we left off, Lelouch and friends have just crashed a wedding, and now he is holding the Tianzi hostage. As for what he's trying to do with all this, trying to be the big bad villain, well, that's always the question, isn't it? I do believe he's already mentioned he wants to use the Chinese as sort of like he wants to topple the Chinese government and sort of like utilize them as allies in his war against the Britannian Empire. Does he like want to completely uproot the current government, install a puppet government, something of that sort? Or is it just like forcing them to like, is he trying to incite rebellion within the people? Or is it going to be like even fully integrating them into his sort of like United States of Japan? Or is it going to be something more like utilizing them as a puppet government, etc., etc. I guess we'll just have to get into it and find out. All right, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. All good questions, eh? If I were to bet my money, I mean, the most interesting thing would obviously be for them to, like, completely join the United States of Japan, right? But somehow I feel like they aren't going to go as crazy as that. But hey, it's hard to say, right? I mean, we've seen crazier things being done here as well, and I guess it's a good way to keep people like, um, it's not fun if you can just guess what's gonna happen, right? I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting them to evacuate onto like a huge iceberg island and start drifting around. By the way, Lucia, like, I'm assuming like the wedding takes place on like a weekend or something. Otherwise, Lucia still has school to attend to, right? When the Shenhu rises. Oh, Both sides have upgraded. I think Xingke is definitely being in a very awkward situation right now, right? I mean, he literally just raised his sword against the units. Just no, it's sort of like a meanwhile, right? United States of China, eh? Okay, so now they're they're becoming a United Nation. Yeah, not quite, but anyways. For finance? This is definitely a guy who's going to, like, take a few. Yep, he's being detained. And then he's gonna join the cause, isn't he? Oh. That's kind of being a little bit jealous. No, C2 does look cute like that, right? With a plushie, like taking it all around. It's Xingke, right? Come on. This is definitely a story where the will of individuals take precedence over the masses and the public, right? It's a story about heroes, first and foremost. I definitely feel like, considering like all of the conflict so far, has been like decided by these individuals piloting these very, very advanced nightmares. You'd think that both sides um, would try to develop more anti-nightmare stuff. So how do they have the technology from the Indians? Like in a certain respect, it's definitely. Hmm. But then again, it kind of gets it like, especially since we have a Chinese sort of setting right now, you kind of get into like the sort of fantasy, right? So like that Destiny Warriors kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's quite clear they're not going to just kill her right then and there. They're gonna use it as a hostage to make, like, an exchange. Oh. I'm definitely seeing, like, some sort of, like, prisoner exchange kind of plan coming in the future, though. Or are they actually going, like, into an all-out conflict here? Hmm. No, I do like this though. If we are going to be doing this more in the conventional way. Water. Oh, mud, eh? Mm. Or is the critical point going to be Xingke's body? I mean, it's definitely not a good idea to be fighting here in enemy territory there. So he's gonna do it himself. Okay. Although this means that they are deeply entrenched in enemy territory. Yeah. Yeah, if Xingke really was such a planner, he should have put that into his consideration as well. Oh. How the hell is he at two places at once, though? Like, how exactly is he doing that? I mean, he's literally been besieged and surrounded, so how the hell did he get himself back into the school? That's like the biggest question, like biggest mystery out of all of this. And this is not like this is not an imperceptible amount of distance, right? It's at least a few hours, even at supersonic speed, to get to where they are. All right. Anyways, I will see you guys after this. Alright, and of course we're gonna have to end the dire situation with some more of the casual stuff, right? The school life and whatnot. No, seriously though, I am still very, genuinely curious how exactly Lelouch is coordinating all this. How is he being at two places at the same time? You know, does he have like a substitute for him, a body double or something of that sort? I don't think that's really the answer though. I feel like that would be kind of hard to pull off and fake here. So like I don't know, just magic, right? This it's just magic. I do hope that he's going to or it's going to reveal a little bit in the future like how exactly he's doing this though, because like, again, like based on the geographical details and you know how far away they are from each other and the fact that they're literally under siege right now, it's quite curious how exactly Lelouch is able to pull this off, right? So yeah. But beyond that, what are some other? I guess there's two main topics I wanted to talk about for this particular episode. I mean, one is not really a topic. It's regarding the capture of Callan, right? So you know, obviously, I think this was supposed to be like a character, sort of like a character building point. You know, one of the defining moments, I guess you could say, of Lelouch's character, where you know, at the end of the day, he is not rational enough in order to really just pull back as needed during the Callan situation here, right? I mean, I guess you could argue it either way as well. Obviously, he tried to justify it by saying, "Hey, we're not necessarily going to be any better if we retreat here," and yada yada yada. And obviously, Callan is very important for morale as well. You know, she is like literally their ace, right? It's a huge sort of thing and to sort of like just abandon her, at least even temporary, right? But you have to admit, the concept of like fighting deep within enemy territory, you're in a situation where the enemy can have infinite reinforcements, right? That is definitely not the ideal situation to be in. Fall back, regroup. They certainly shouldn't be able to do anything to Callan, because you still have the hostage on your side as well. You still have the Tianzi on your side as well, right? So objectively speaking, there shouldn't really have been any danger here, and ultimately we ended up in sort of kind of the same situation anyways. But I feel like that was probably kind of important in terms of building a Lelouch's character to the audience, and within the universe as well, like from a meta perspective within the universe, how his people view him. And not to mention, I think I've talked about this already before, right? Even though Lelouch is always trying to portray it as he's on top of things, he's fought things through, he's cold, calculating, and yada yada yada. But we've seen many times already that he is not as calculating and as in control of his emotions as he and maybe he would like to believe, and he would like to lead us to believe, right? So, I mean, it's not particularly surprising that this is the choice he made. But anywho, I do feel like that was more for the audience than anything else, right? Yeah, how can we let Callan go, and etc., right? I mean, let's be honest here. If that was like Toto or something, he definitely would have let him go. I mean, let's just be real here, all right? Callan is special, right? He's one of Zero's woman. I'm not sure like how exactly this kind of series is going to end. At least on the relationship front or whatnot. But at least from a organizational perspective, right? I feel like the people should know, like the C2 and Callan and Kaguya. They're kind of like they're kind of like zeros, all right. so we have that thing going for that as well. But yeah, anyways, beyond that though, talking a little bit about the actual battle that they did, right? So I think at this point in time, it's quite clear this series is mostly based on the actions and behaviors of individuals, right? We're not really looking at this from just a very high level, like strategic perspective in terms of stuff. So a lot of these battles, a lot of these fights are won and lost by individual prowess and individual contributions, individual nightmares. So I think this has been a recurring theme so far. I do feel like it was kind of nice. Because kind of nice when we actually had like the normal forces trying to fight each other and outmaneuver each other and out strategize each other, because at the end of the day, if you're going for like this kind of individual kind of thing, then ultimately, I mean, it does make for a more interesting storyline because we know the characters and we can go along with the characters. But then, we get it in situations like this where it's just ever more like advanced single nightmares coming out and then upgrading, and then you really get into the sort of like the mecha kind of upgrade vibe, right? Getting better, newer versions, better weapons, and then depending on the heroics of the mecha pilots. So having a little bit of like the actual battle situation there, I feel like that was a nice change of pace. And I do kind of want to see some more of that as well, right? Zero, Lelouch is literally the leader of a nation now, so you kind of have to broaden your perspective as well from that sense of view. But yeah, beyond that though, the interesting thing here, or the thing that I'm quite puzzled by, is really in Xingke's behavior. Right now, he's enraged that Lelouch has kidnapped the Tianzi. I mean, I get it, right? But it's just that if he really was this sort of like there's this saying that we have called 文武双全, which is he's a thinker, he's a strategizer, and yet he's good in actual combat, hand-to-hand combat, and being a soldier as well, right? So we can clearly see here that Lelouch has a very high opinion of him, right? However, if that were the case, I feel like the best situation for Xingke would have been to get to the negotiation table like immediately while he still had some leverage, right? Because I think I mean, think about it. He was already revolting against the current Chinese government, against the current federation, right? He was already crashing the wedding. He was already intervening in something that had been decided by the government. You know, he is a rebel. You know, by all intents and purposes, he has already committed treason. So trying to fight on, I mean, I think it's quite clear that to him, you know, there's really two things on his mind. One is the safety and longevity of the Tianzi, and the second is the safety and prosperity of the Chinese people, right? And respectively in this order. So if I feel like it would be much more a logical move to instead actively seek out a sort of alliance with Lelouch, with the United States of Japan, in order to combat the sort of growing influence of the corrupt Unitists and also the spread of influence of the Britannian Empire, right? You know, that would have been the situation where he would be like, okay, you know, let us ally up with you guys. You know, this is what I can contribute. You know, I have myself. You know, as a general, you could use a capable person here. You know, you have my forces. Yada yada yada. What do I demand? I demand the safety of the Tianzi, and I also demand the autonomy of the Chinese people, right? You know, to really try to utilize whatever leverage he has while he still has it, and not because later on, like when you later go to the negotiating table, when you already have your back against the wall, then there's no negotiation. Now, you're just going to be forced to accept the other party's terms because you got no other routes, you got no other outs that you can do. So if he really were a thinker, right, I feel like that's the sort of plan, and that's the sort of action he should have took from the beginning, and not, you know, not necessarily still trying to work for the current government, and then, you know, hoping that his transgression earlier wouldn't really have a long-lasting impact, and that, you know, the current government still has the safety and longevity of the Tianzi and the Chinese people in their mind, because obviously not, right? So if this guy is supposedly such a smart guy, then how can he fail to notice that and know about that and, you know, plan accordingly, right? So I feel like that's my biggest gripe with this entire situation. I feel like honestly, to Lelouch as well, like, he should have been utilizing this as an opportunity to get to Xingke and try to force him to be an ally on his side, right? Although I guess for that he would need to first understand the sort of relationship between the Tianzi and Xingke, and maybe that's not something that he's necessarily as in tune with or being able to take advantage of, I guess. So that's my 2 cents on the situation. I feel like a lot of this could have been alleviated. And hey, I feel like at the very end of the day, it's probably still going to be alleviated in a similar sort of situation, right? Like, Xingke is probably still going to turn on the current Chinese government at the very end, you know, for the sake of the Tianzi and whatnot, and something of that nature. Or, I don't know, like maybe the Tianzi will try to you know, put her foot down and you know, say something about this entire situation. I mean, she's just literally a puppet at this point, right? But then again, I don't think her character has really been shown to be this kind of character. I don't think this was the way that she was raised. It's not like she has this innate capability within her to really you know, step into the real world and take over the reins of the country and whatnot. So I think more likely than not, it's going to still turn into a situation where Xingke kind of cuts some deal with Lelouch, with the United States of Japan, and you know, probably something along those lines, right? The safety of Tianzi and the safety of the people, something of that sort. But yeah, anyways, my main point is that he should have been thinking about this kind of direction way earlier, right? Like, even as they were going with the entire kidnapping thing. And speaking of which, like, I'm also not quite sure, like, why Lelouch feels the need that he needs to portray himself as a bad guy in that situation, instead of trying to recruit you know, people, the descendants of the current government. Like, that should be his bread and butter, isn't it? he should encourage and incite this rebellion instead, because that would further benefit him. So it would actually be in his favor if he could get on this good side of the rebels, to overthrow, topple the current government, and then seek to form an alliance with this new government to maintain an allied front, a united front against the Britannian Empire. And that is that. Alright, I think that's all I want to talk about for this episode. Not too much else. I guess there is some interesting stuff coming out in regards to like the Indians, what exactly is their their perspective of this. It seems like there's maybe two factions, one faction wanting to work together with Zero, one faction wanting to work together with the Britannians and whatnot. Don't really know if that's going to come into play later on, but I guess we'll just have to see. And as I said, I will try to be pushing out a few more videos in this week, before the next season starts. So stay tuned, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.